This is Baldur's Gate 3. We're here on Xbox Series S. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So we would have traditionally my other character that I was working on, but my saves got erased turning on the Series S version of Baldur's Gate, so that's lovely. Thanks, Xbox Series S. So what are we getting here? It's honestly like really low resolution. It looks like it's dynamic 900p to some degree lower, 30 FPS. It does support online co-op, but the local co-op is not supported on Series S, but they are going to attempt to do that down the road. There's HDR support, and yeah, I think this is one of those situations where maybe the Series S is holding back the Series X a bit. Definitely is holding back my save files. Anyways, so this is the wonderful world of D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. You create your own custom character with incredibly in-depth levels of personalization, customization, choice, design, and you just get to really roleplay to the highest degree, meet some colorful characters, and go on an insanely wild journey that's very personal, expansive, and excellent from what I've played thus far. I am hoping to do a proper review down the road, as well. Now I have to restart, I guess, so that's gonna take longer. But yeah, it's kind of a wonderful experience of personalization and just gameplay. I don't know, like, it's so in-depth. It's really hard to fully describe just like the scope of this. Like, this game is so impressive. You can interact with like every like kind of NPC that you come across in like camps and towns, and and then there's this mix of really excellent, impressive visuals, cinematic gameplay, and then they've even got like pre-rendered cutscenes that look remarkable. And it's just like, it's a really great game. And like on the Series S, like, you're probably used to this, I guess you would say, sort of visual quality and stuff like that, so you're not gonna necessarily feel like you're missing anything. I'm thinking of a different part where we're supposed to actually like run to a console. Huh, that's funny. You do something a few times. Anyways, it's a little blurry and stuff like that, but it's still the full scope of the game. You might run into some frame issues here and there, but like it is, it's the full scope of the experience. It's a wonderful experience. It's a game you can have just probably, if you really want to, like, I want to say tens and tens of hours of gameplay, but you could possibly have well over 100 hours, maybe even more, as you go across multiple playthroughs and make new characters and make new decisions and have different like individuals that you're like working with and interacting with. And yeah, that's kind of intriguing as an aspect, the fact that you are able to like play this, and then when you probably really like it, replay it again. And it's running off Divinity 4.0 engine, which is trying its absolute best to deliver a good quality here for those on the Series S. But yeah, it's kind of a nice experience, and it's like, if you're familiar with the idea of like role playing in this sort of universe, this brain's really nice. Thanks, brain. Yeah, very kind, brain. It's a game where you will have to. Yeah, I'm not trying not to talk to you. It's a game where you are making decisions, and at times you are going to have to like literally roll the dice in order to basically do things like your charisma checks, or do you mess up in the sequence. For example, the other night I did a territory standoff with a squirrel, and I won, and now the squirrel allows me on its territory, and then there was an assassin for whatever reason, was after someone, kicked me off a cliff, killed me, and then killed this random woman. I still don't know what the context was for the woman or what was happening, and I was just like, this is crazy. It really is. It's genuinely a crazy setup, and the performances here have all been wonderful thus far, and the character models are great, and the fabrics look excellent. I mean, obviously much lower resolution here. You can definitely see that they had to do some cutbacks here on the Series S to fully get this one working, which is definitely really evident, but you still get the full experience. I mean, you know what the Series S does, you know what it's capable of, and it's like, yeah, sure, maybe a 60 FPS mode would be kind of nice, but I mean, you can definitely tell that it is struggling for this game, for sure. Because they did, because on Series X you get 1440 kind of across the board, and it looks clean, it looks great, plays well, it's fluid. And then here it's like lower res, no frame rate options, cut like modes. So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, this is literally like the rolling the dice kind of thing, and it's like a lot of chance, which is really cool because it changes your scenario, and then you literally have like the narrator, the dungeon master, some might say, kind of being in the backdrop, sort of adding all these elements of story delivery, and it just like it really creates this nice ambience of like you are a character in this world, and you're meeting all of these individuals, and you're making all of these choices, and you can choose who you're with, and they all have side quests and side activities. And yeah, it's kind of amazing that they were able to actually build a game this full of depth and care and design, and then to be able to play it cooperatively is really quite a treasure as well, since you are able to adventure together in something that is just almost too expansive. Like, it's got such funny delivery. Like, it's kind of realistic in the sense that it's morbid at times, but also funny, and there's like a good amount of levity, and then the performances for the characters and whatnot are really great, and there's like a sense of mystery here too, and what we're doing, and it's a quest that sort of builds up as you go along and explore and see things and do stuff, and really get to know these individuals. They really did deliver something truly worth playing, honestly. Like, I've just lightly, again, touching the surface of this one. In my opinion, there's so much more for me to do, and I'll have to now redo it, which is a little bit of a bummer considering I took so long customizing everything. Hopefully I'll be able to pull my saves from the local Series X. That would be great. So thanks, Series S. But yeah, it's just Mind Flayer horticulture. It looks so cool. It's such a strange experience, but it's heavily detailed. There's so many differing environments. Like, this is just sort of a simplistic beginning, if that makes sense. It's just almost like it acts as a tutorial. It acts as a way to, get you into this world, and then you get to the greater open world area, which takes a second to load for sure. And it just becomes this crazy, expansive experience that is just absolutely excellent. And then you get these crazy scenes. So these are in-game cinematics. There are actual, like I mentioned prior, like pre-rendered visual cinematics that look stunning. These squid things are ridiculous. Oh, even the slow rendering textures and stuff too for character skins. I feel like they really tried for the Series S. I do genuinely feel like they really tried for this thing. You get in there and cut that. And then, like, your characters. So it's turn-based combat, as is, like, pretty evident. But you have more than, just doing combat. Like, you can do all of this interesting stuff. We're going to be, like, kind of more directly attacking these enemies, because we do actually have pressure in needing to get to a certain position fast. But, like, you really can do just an assortment of things, and then as your characters level, there's like dozens and dozens of skills, and you're constantly getting access to new, you know, abilities, new skills, new talents, and your classes and your subclasses, and the classes of your teammates and their abilities all come into play too, because they all have different things. Like, you can also, hilariously, I was just throwing things, so you could look in your inventory, and I had like a bunch of like daggers, and and javelins, and I was just shoving them at creatures. Like, I'd be like, oh, I'm out of like stamina, I can't do anything, and then I would just like start throwing stuff at people. You could just like chuck your items at enemies that are near you, and I was having a bit of a ball with it, because it was really, really genuinely funny. At least I thought that you could like do this silly stuff, and that's where I'm saying like the layering of complexity to this game is just remarkable. Like, every time you level, you have literally, probably sometimes, depending on, you know, which class you have, what you're doing, there's like maybe over to like a dozen different skills, like fire bolts or like necromantic abilities. It's not even a word. It's necromantic. We're going with it. And then there's like fire and electricity and water attacks and healing attacks, and like it just kind of goes on and on and on in regards to like just the amount of stuff you can do in this game is just incredible. Like, I'm not sure I've seen many other games, or any other game actually, have this like level of like depth to it. It's remarkable what they were able to achieve. It's really disappointing the Xbox platform didn't get this earlier due to the Series S, because yeah, it would have been amazing to have played this prior and been experiencing it, because it's such a great game. It's so amazing. I feel like I've missed out on like a part of the literal gaming culture this last year, or the last however many months, but I'm really glad that they were able to get this out the door for us to enjoy it on the platform. And like, you know, the Series S here, it's running it, you know, it's okay. It's about the standard that I expect for Series S games, obviously. And I think you won't feel too bad diving into this one and having a good time. As I said, you know, I'm still not, like, I'm not able to review it because I haven't been able to really play it. It's basically just trying to give you an idea of like how it's running and how it's looking and everything like that. Oh, it's dead. That's funny. I think our Squid Pal's gonna get smoked in a sec here. Squid Pal's giving it all he's got. But, yeah. I really like this experience. I think this is really good. Oh, this is the first time I've actually gone here, and the squid guy doesn't get like cut up. That is fascinating, because it's like it's completely different every time you play it, and like other people will play it and experience it entirely different too. Like their setup, their scenarios, their choices, their character classes, the way they roleplay will be entirely different from the way you roleplay. It's kind of amazing what they were able to like achieve with this game and do with it. I'm just blown away by it, flustered by it, and I didn't even really, you know, haven't really even dove in that deeply, I guess. Like, I feel like I'm just sort of simmering and touching the surface of it, and now I'm gonna have to possibly restart unless I work some sort of cloud save magic, I guess, for the Series X side of things, which would be, hopefully it works out, but it'll be a bit of a bummer. Yeah. The cutscenes look okay on the Series S, but they're definitely, like, drawn back for sure. That is absolutely the case here. So we'll see how the loading is, because it does usually take quite a bit to open up this larger open world, but maybe it's a bit better because the Series S assets are so, like, lowered, if that makes sense. Gathaki Knights? Whoa! Those are the best knights. Yeah, like I said, this list takes a while. I think it was about a minute on the Series X. So that's a really good cut down for Series S. That's a perk benefit, is the loading times. But again, I think it's because the texturing is so much lower. That is for sure. Look at this crazy thing. It's one of those titles that I kind of hope they do re-releases of down the road, if that makes sense. I'd love to see this at like a full 4K 60 would be like tops. Because yeah, even the hair texturing isn't like as detailed. So epic. Oh, and the music in this game is incredible too. And yeah, you're really weaving your own narrative. And then there's just like these little dots of mystery, but you can totally just go off and do whatever. Solve problems, disarm traps, battle against enemies, and fight all manner of weird creatures and stuff like that. And it's really spectacular, it honestly is. Outside of, again, my save issue here, which, sorry, it's just driving me nuts thinking about it. Ah, yes, the open world.
As you wake, the tadpole squirms in your skull.
Yep, my little worm friend.
Chaos of the crash site confuses the landscape.
It's so neat how they were able to make it like it comes across as tabletop, right? But it's very much a full video game scenario.
You need a cure.
Now I will have incredibly unrealistic expectations for a follow-up. If that ever happens, that's probably miles away. Oh wow, yeah, the resolution just takes a pummeling in this open world area. Wow, yeah, the details are just like really, really gone here. Yeah, I could see that they were struggling with the Series S. This may be one of the first times where I do legitimately feel like this console is sort of holding back other platforms or just isn't good enough to run this. Waypoint discovered. So your waypoints you can like teleport between. One of them might have a guy with an arm sticking through it. You never know. Look at this adventure. What's really interesting too is usually I would come across another one of my companions, but yeah, I don't know where she is. Usually this is really weird. I always come across what's her name? Or is she here and I just couldn't tell because oh yeah, there's Shadowheart. I couldn't tell because it was so blurry. Shadowheart, with your weird dice. Should I go for the dice? You looking around before going and grabbing the die? That's funny. Oh, come on, she's gonna wake and be like, how could you do this? She's gonna be mad.
What are you doing? Well, that's honest of you. Don't do it again. I'll give you
I love the character interactions and the attitude.
Speaking of, how are we alive?
Magic. Absolute magic. And I love the tentacles in the backdrop. Still though, it's a well worth playing game. You can probably get through it on the Series S and have a fine time. And I'm sure you'll have all kinds of magical journeys and adventures if you go to play this. And I will, you know, hopefully check out down the road basically a full review of this game, because it is something that I am really quite into. I'm having a great time with it. I was having a blast with it. I'm hoping I can remedy the save situation. That would be tops. And yeah, I don't know. It's a great game. It genuinely is amazing. I'm wondering. Well, I mean, there's obviously other entries and stuff like that, and oh, there's a whole camp situation and wheels of like decision making and management. Like this game is so full of details. It's just utterly ridiculous how much you can actually do in this one. It's insanely impressive, this whole experience, the whole way through. They absolutely just Yeah, they nailed it. This is what I'm talking about, this wheel.